Hey guys, today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/Fred. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, MP3 player. That's audibletrial.com/Fred. But for now, enjoy the show. Hey guys, come on in. Hey, I got 4 questions for you. Do you aspire to a creative life? Are you tired of working 9 to 5? Are you asking yourself, what is the point of it all? Do you want to take your life? Do you want to take your creativity to the next level? Or better yet, do you want to find the love of your life? Welcome to the Creative Magic Unchained. This is a special episode. Oh yeah, this podcast is about unleashing your creativity, your love, your affection for the other person. This is a special edition. We talk to experts. We step into the unknown. It's an inspirational podcast. It is a magical podcast. It is an intuitive podcast as we chat with charismatic enigmas. That's right. We chat with artists and business people from around the globe. The musicians, singers, radio hosts, business people, photographers, everything in between. The tower of power, too sweet to be sour, funky like a monkey. Hey, in this place, CMU, Creative Magic Unchained. Sky is the limit and space is the place. I am Frederick Bai. I am your host. I'm a businessman. I'm an artist. I'm a writer. I'm a friend. I'm a partner. I am an animal lover. And this podcast is FREE. That's right. Free every time you download it on iTunes or Stitcher. Please go over there and subscribe. And if you think that this podcast can be helpful to somebody else, share it with your friends. Share it with people you love and care about. Really, what really helps brother out is when you leave a review. When you leave reviews on iTunes, it allows this podcast to shine in the rankings. And this is what we want, don't we? And by the way, right before we get to the first part of this podcast, I just want to say what you're going to do right now. You're going to go to Frederick with a C, Bai like Babai.com. frederickbai.com, and you're going to join our creatives community. Why? Well, so that you receive free audio of my interview that I did with JF Dubois, and we talk about following your passion. We talk about following your curiosity, and JF Dubois' story will, I guarantee you, will inspire you to take the first steps, because he's just a regular dude. He's just a regular guy like you and I. But he is going for it. And I decided to make this conversation exclusive because it represents what this podcast is about. It's about daring great. It's about taking the leap. It's about taking the first steps. It is about starting small and working your way up so that you don't make stupid mistakes. All right. So you're going to go now to frederickbai.com. That's Frederick with a C. By.com. Also, you'll be the first one to receive any podcast. I give cool giveaways. Trust me, I'm giving cool giveaways, and you'll receive a few surprises in your email, and you'll also get Q&A articles, a bunch of stuff. So right now, frederickbai.com. All right. As many of you know, I always like to start off with something funny. So here it is. Honey, said this husband to his wife, I invited a friend home for supper. What? Are you crazy? The house is a mess. I haven't been shopping. All the dishes are dirty and I don't feel like cooking a fancy meal. I know all that. Then why did you invite a friend for supper? Because the poor fool is thinking about getting married. There's nothing wrong with being married, right? I have a ring around my finger. It's cool. And you know what? It really, I don't know why people say getting married, changes a relationship. How does it change a relationship? It doesn't change anything. It didn't change anything to my relationship. It's not like, I don't know. It's crazy. But I like that joke. I thought it was a fun joke. Anyway. All right, today, this Saint-Valentine Special. I decided to do it for all you guys, for all you people out there. It's a season of love. Don't you love love? We all love love, don't we? This episode is, we're going to talk obviously about relationships. We're going to talk about dating. We're going to dive in a little bit into sex, and sex is always a fascinating, subject, right? We all like it. I don't know. I don't care what era we're in. I don't care how, extrovert we are, introvert we are. We all love the subject of sex, right? And who do we have as a guest? Who do we have as a relationship expert? Well, let me tell you who we have. Her name is Amira Celon. She's one of the best intuitive mediums in the world today. She has vast background in television and has worked all over the world, including the Middle East, USA, Europe, UK, Australia, in live to air. She airs. She does psychic shows. She also is part of World Predictions, and she also works as a TV personality. She has written several articles over the years for magazines, and those of us who have had the pleasure to know her work are always baffled by her uncannily accurate predictions of world events and her specialty in love predictions. Amira has published her own deck of cards, Amira's Love Oracle Cards. They are a beautiful set of cards created with a modern context. She conducts workshops and offers online video courses to teach people with practical and spiritual tips and tricks on how to manifest the best for their lives. Her YouTube channel has featured videos and growing subscribers every week who tune into her predictions. Amira's intention is always to empower, enlighten, and align you with your higher purpose and to assist you in unlocking your full potential. Amira's modalities include Clairvoyance, Mediumship, card reading, Feng Shui, dating, coaching, Numerology, Astrology, face reading, and Turkish coffee cup readings. Hey guys, I had a really fun conversation with her. I have to admit, I really was fascinated with this interview. Amira is really very, very kind, and she's very she's sweet. She's sweet, and I just thought, what, I know a lot of people a lot of people went to see mediums. I know my mom did. I even did. I did it before. Oh yeah, I did it before. And I like to talk sometimes. I like to talk with these people because they bring another perspective, and we all, whether we like it or not, we all kind of sort of believe in something higher, and I think it's entertaining, and I think it's fun to always get that person's point of view. And she's even going to pull a card on me. Like, she's going to analyze me for a few minutes here. So I asked her about the show, and I was pretty happy about her answer. So hey, without further ado, let's go talk about love with Amira Celon right after this. Hey guys, quick thanks to radioguestlist.com, where you can find people to interview for free. Or if you want to be interviewed, you can go there too. radioguestlist.com. Thank you guys for your support. And speaking of you listeners, I want to hear from you. If you would like to be on this show to discuss a book you have written or that you loved, if you have a book recommendation, or you just want to chat, email me. I want to hear from you at info@frédéricbaye.com. That's info@frédéricbaye.com. And for advertisement offers, use the same address. With Subject: advertising. All right, hello. So we are here with Amira Celon. Is that how we pronounce your name?
It's Amira Celon or Amira Celon in Italian.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go with Amira Celon.
Yes, it sounds more French, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's easier to pronounce for me. All right, she's one of the best intuitive mediums in the world today. She has published her own deck of cards, Amira's Love Oracle cards, and she also does clairvoyance, card reading, Feng Shui, dating coaching, numerology, astrology. Basically, she's doing it all. And today, we're going to talk about dating. We're going to talk about love. How are you today?
I'm very well, Frederick. How are you?
I am fabulous. All right, the subject of love is a big subject because everybody wants love. We see that in all the movies. We you know, when we walk down the street, it's everywhere. Sexuality and love, and it's a subject. No matter what era we're in, it fascinates people. Would you agree?
I would agree 100% because there's a lot of people who are single out there and a lot of people who do have big love stories and then they end up, separating or divorcing and being single and wanting love again. So it's something that is a cyclic sort of thing. It goes around in a cycle or a theme or a trend in people's lives in general.
Mm-hmm. All right before we dive into that hot subject of love,
yes.
Talk to us a little bit about your background. Give us an idea.
Well, I grew up in Australia. I have a European background. I've lived all over the world. I've traveled. I was a model when I was 16 and I worked in Italy and also in Australia. And I've done TV commercials, small parts in films, modeling, mainly photographic modeling. And I've hosted my own television shows, mainly in the psychic or astrology type of theme. And that they've been in Ireland for TV3, in Australia, and I've also been interviewed for world predictions in the Middle East, in Australia, and also other places internationally. So I'm kind of a little bit of a gypsy, and I've always tried to find my kind of ideal place to live. And through the astro maps or the astrocartography, which is a specialized world, it's like a map of the world with your birth chart or your birth chart imprinted on top of the world map. You can try to work out the best places to live. Mm-hmm. So I've tried to do that. At the moment, I'm in Miami in South Florida, and I've been here for about a year. I've been a resident of the US for 3 years. Previously in Los Angeles. I'm thinking of maybe going back to Los Angeles. I'm not sure 100%. But I'm going to see what happens over the next couple of months.
Beautiful people in Miami, huh?
Yeah, Miami is a very interesting place. It's an eclectic mix. For me, it can be a little slow regarding just things that are going on. LA has much more of a buzz to it with people doing things and entrepreneurs and people working and making things happen, whereas Miami is a little bit laid back. It's a beautiful location to live. The sea element is gorgeous because I like to involve myself around nature. So it's very nice. I live right on the sea, on the beach. It's a beautiful, especially in summer, the water's so beautiful and warm. And it's got a lot of really nice attributes to it. It's very close to South America, Mexico, the east coast of America, Canada. But, like every place I've discovered, Frederick, has its pros and cons, and no place is perfect. So it's one of those things. I have the ability to move around because I have an online business. I do my live streaming to TV shows 4 times a week for Psychic TV UK and also Psychic TV Australia. Mm-hmm. I live stream basically from my lounge room or from my desk. So wow. I can move myself wherever I go as long as I have my laptop with me, and I do my consultations on the phone or with a voice recorded consultation. So I can work anywhere I want to live. And that's the benefit of what I'm doing. But, there's other things that come into play as well. So,
all right, let's dive into it. Let's dive
Sure.
into the subject. I think you hit on a point earlier. There are so many single people in the freaking world, in America, in the US, and Canada. It seems that everybody around me is single, or most people. It's just crazy. We're just in an era, it seems, that is just shenanigans. There's no protocol anymore. It's just everybody's kind of, there are no rules anymore. It seems like before you were a woman, he was the man, he would ask you, you'd marry, and then boom, and that's it. Now it's like everything is just, broken. I don't want to say broken down. It's not broken down, but it's exploded,
Well, the thing is, people can make up their own rules, so they can set by their own parameters and their own rules. And I think that's very important when it comes to dating and relationships, is not to fall into this big sea of a mix of everything that's happening. Just to kind of stick to your own guidelines, to have your own principles, if there's any left in the world. I think a lot of people have lost their principles. And to stick with your own idea of relationship, of what you want, and don't let others influence you in that. So I think it's a very personal thing today, and I think people can do what they want to do as long as it's inside what they feel comfortable with.
All right, so this is the season of love, Saint-Valentine. What would you advise somebody? Okay, let's say she's a woman, 30 years old. She doesn't really like to go out. There are people who just, they're how can I say this? She's not extravagant. She likes to do her own thing, and she's single. She doesn't know what to do.
Or how to find a date, or how to find a relationship.
Exactly. What are the first steps? What is the first step that she can make?
I think the first step, Frederick, is to really love yourself and be in love with your own life and love with your own passions.
How do you do that? Because I hear that a lot. Love yourself first. What does that really mean?
Well, you have to kind of get obsessed about yourself and obsessed about your own life and just do what you want to do. And there's a lot of people who suffer from loneliness. Yeah, and there's a lot of people who suffer from this kind of constant busyness as well. And people who are sort of crazy busy don't have a lot of space in their life for a relationship, and they have to acknowledge that, and they have to amend something in their lives. But coming back to your question, for somebody who is in their 30s or any age at all, I often suggest to my clients to engage in their own life. That's number one. And to be present for themselves, but also to go about action of doing things that they enjoy doing. And that can often bring people into their life. I found the best times I've ever met anyone significant in my life is if I've been totally oblivious to everybody else. I haven't been looking for anything. I just go about my day-to-day life and I've been in love with my life at that point in time. And it can be going to meetup groups, special interest groups, hobbies, doing things that you love doing. And a lot of females, they tend to do lots of hobbies and interests that just involve women. I would suggest to do hobbies and interests that involve men. So stand-up paddleboard, sailing, golf, filmmaking, book writing, anything where there's a balance of men and women or there's a dominance of men. I've just been on a skiing trip, and I tell you what, I go with a ski club. There's a lot of couples in the club. There's a lot of singles in the club. There's a lot of men on the ski slopes who like skiing or snowboarding. That's a very male-dominated pastime or hobby. So I would suggest to any female to pick up a hobby or a sport or an interest that men do, not women do. So not so much meditation and new age type of things, because a lot of women like doing those. So you're going to go to those things, sit there in a meditation, and probably there'll be 1 or 2 men there and there'll be 20 women. So you can do those things, but I'm also saying to mix it up with something else that will bring in people. The other thing is going about your day-to-day life, loving yourself, being open to love, and meeting people, standing in line at a checkout, at the post office, it could be a neighbor, a friend, it could be at the gym. I've known quite a lot of people to meet their partner at a gym, even in their own building, or a neighbor, for example, on the treadmill. You might be at your own local gym in your building and you meet your neighbor who's on the treadmill. I think just going about your day-to-day life, doing what you like to do, being open to love. And I really believe in Feng Shui, so I actually think women should, try to always look their best, look presentable, but also wear a little bit of pink. And some women don't like pink, but pink attracts men whether they subconsciously know it or they don't.
That is true.
And also red. So nice bright colors, pink. And it can be any shade of pink. It can be a light pink, a hot pink, a coral pink. But I think if you're wearing browns and greys and blacks all the time, to change it up a little bit and wear some color. And men will compliment you. I've got beautiful nails, like nail polish, and the nail polish color is called Kinky Pinky. And I've been in like gas stations of men and said, men have told me, oh, I love your nails. And I said, oh, thank you, it's Kinky Pinky. So that's kind of like an opening sort of like chat up line, like if someone wants to talk to you, they're going to say, hi, I like this, or I like that color you're wearing, or that your earrings or your dress or something like that. So men often go and make an opening line to a female about what they're wearing or how they're looking, because they're very visual. So I think that's important.
See, that's interesting. Because it's true. I don't know what's up with the color pink, but we love color pink. Oh
wow!
I love women who wear. I don't know. There's something in the color in pink that just, you're right, that just attracts us. It really does.
Yeah. Well, pink's a color of love. It's got a love.
It's feminine. It's very, very feminine.
Yeah, it's very pretty. It's feminine. It's got a Venus love vibration to it. It makes women look softer and more approachable, especially if they're wearing like a baby pink. And even if they put like a little hair clip in their hair with a little bow or something with a pink on it, it can on some women look very cute.
Let me ask you this, because you're a dating expert. Now let's go over to the guys. Let's talk about the guys, because problem with guys is they never really admit what they're really ashamed of, unlike women. Women are just open books for most of them. It's like, I'm lonely, and they're able to say it. Men are not able to say it. And I what I see is a lot of men are also intimidated by women, because a lot of women are intimidated by men, but the how can I say this? The mindset is often the man approaches, the woman. So she puts herself in a position to be approached, but the guy has to actually, reach out, right? He has to take the first step. I mean, as a general rule, it's not for everybody. And a lot of guys are not able, or don't have the courage to do that, and they'll never admit it. And I don't care, but it's true. It's just true. And they're staying in their homes, and they're lonely also, just as lonely as the women. What can a man do right now? He sees all love, he sees love, all the sighing posts and all of that stuff. What can he do to kind of get out of his shell?
Well, I think there's a lot more women out there looking for love than available men. Ooh. So if you are an available man, you've actually got an advantage on all the other men who are players, who are just throwing themselves at any woman that's passing by. A lot of men have success by just casting a very wide net. So what that means is to approach a lot of women of all different types, shapes and sizes and ranges and anything that's going. If you're more of a discerning man and you have a specific type that you're looking for, I also suggest for those type of guys to go and join groups where there's mixing and mingling, even minglers or mixers where they're having a few drinks or going to a meditation or something like that, where there's a lot of females present. And if you like to go to church, you might like to join a church group or a spiritual group. If you're into metaphysics, you might like to do a meditation. A gong bath meditation is amazing, where there's usually a lot of women present, or any sort of spiritual type of group. or activity. So playing tennis. A lot of women like playing tennis, or some women play golf, but you're going to have to start choosing things that women are more interested in, maybe something to do with the arts, or just going to a mixer or something like that in your local area. If you're living in a town or a fairly sort of like established community, they should have meetup.com groups. And I find the meetup.com groups for the average person are very good ways of meeting a wide range of people, because you can join all different types of interests. I go to an Italian speaking meetup group, and I've been to many different groups all over the world, and you do meet a wide range of people at these meetup groups. If you like to date foreign people, you might want to go to internations.org, O-R-G, in your local city or town. Usually it's in the bigger cities. So I'm going to talk more about the small town people, if you wish me to. But the bigger cities will have internations.org, where there's expats from all over the world living in one particular town or city, and they have events and meetups where you can go and meet different people and do different activities. For people who are in small towns, small town people are friendlier and more open than big cities. So it is normally easier to meet your neighbours, to meet the people on your street, to tell them that you're available for a relationship, and they can even introduce you to their sisters, cousins, aunties, nieces, daughters, etc. If you're a male. If you're in a small town community, a lot of people will be interconnected, so you'll meet people sort of more through the community than you won't. So that's for men who want to meet women in a small town, that's what you could probably do. And if you're not meeting them through your work or through your day-to-day life, then start to go to community type small kind of meetups and things like that.
All right, let me ask you this. And this is just my observation. You're in a better position to tell me because you're really an expert. It seems that for women, one of the biggest obstacle, or I should say self-esteem towards men, is, am I beautiful enough? That's one of the biggest issues that they have. And many of them don't think they are beautiful enough because they think that guys, that's all they look at. It's, appearance. And on the other side of the coin, men, it's not the beauty. They don't ask themselves, am I beautiful enough? I mean, sometimes they do, but it's their money. Like, am I
successful enough?
Exactly. Okay, let's start with the woman. How can she deal with that?
Well, I think all she needs to do is go out on the street and look at how many women out there have got husbands who may or may not be as what she feels is as beautiful as her or not. There's a lot of women out there who are married and very happy who may not be, the beauty queens of this world. So I just suggest have a look around and then work on your own self-esteem and your own value. Write down your value, how you value yourself. Maybe she's got other attributes or values that are not beauty related, and that will be very valuable in a relationship. So it's about valuing what you have and not worrying about what you don't have, and also making the most of what you do have.
Okay. What about men? I mean, it's good, because a lot of men, they're doing okay, or they're doing, and I think there's that inherent thing in men where they want to, greet their woman in a mansion. I mean, they really want to show off that, look, I'm doing well, because they think that women judge them on their status, on their success, and that's why I think a lot of men stay home and don't date. Yeah. What would you tell them?
Well, a lot of men feel more powerful in themselves as a man and more virile and have more virility and livelihood within their own masculinity when they feel really successful. So I feel for men who might be just on the way to becoming more successful in their lives and they don't feel they've quite made it in their own situation, should maybe focus on what they are. It's similar to the women, what they are good at or what they value about themselves. They might be really good handymen, or they might be really good at tennis, or, they might be a really good listener or a good friend, or they might be very caring. or considerate, or they might have a lot of time where they can actually invest in a relationship. So maybe also write down the qualities they have that are available for relationship, and also the qualities that they feel they have value in.
All right, just before continuing this conversation, for you, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. I personally recommend the audiobook The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, or you can choose the audiobook of your choice for free by trying audible.com. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/Fred. Again, that's audibletrial.com/Fred. You will be entertained, and at the same time, you will help a brother out. So everybody wins. Go to audibletrial.com/Fred for your free audiobook. All right, once again, we're talking to Amira Celon. She's one of the best intuitive mediums in the world today. She has published her own deck of cards, Amira's Love Oracle cards. And she does a bunch of things: card reading, Feng Shui, dating coaching, Numerology, Astrology, face reading, Clairvoyance,
and Arabic coffee cup reading.
Yeah, Turkish. I read Turkish coffee cup readings.
It's the same as the Arabic coffee.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Why are girls attracted to a-holes? Guys want to know that.
Well, the bad boys have a certain air about them, and they always have had.
Okay, but what is that air? What is it?
It's the air of not really caring. It's being careless. So some women are attracted to this careless attitude. They kind of feel that these men portray themselves and they have an air about being superior because they're careless. Mm-hmm. So for some women, it can be a challenge to kind of get the attention of a bad boy, or somebody doesn't care and turn them into a caring person. Or they could have some psychological kind of issue with their childhood or their past that created the fact that they get attracted to bad boys. Their father might have abandoned them, or they could have been in an abusive relationship, or they could have witnessed abusive relationships. So they've been programmed to be attracted to bad boys. Mm-hmm. So that's really like a group, it's like a therapy session, that one. It's going back to unravel why you're attracted to bad boys. And most women will know why. They do know why. Some women just like a challenge, that they like, the excitement. Mm-hmm. And other women are programmed psychologically to be attracted to the wrong sort of men.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so where does that leave the good boy? What is it? He's not a bad boy. He's sweet.
Well, the good boys, I feel, need to step up a little bit more and man up a little bit more. Some good guys are a little bit too shy, or they don't come forward as much as they could. Mm-hmm. and make an impression. As they tend to sit back as opposed to sort of stepping out a little bit more and having that confidence to go forward. But most good guys, a lot of really great guys are already taken, so it's about meeting somebody in between relationships, because they do get snapped up very quickly, because there are a lot of a-holes out there, like you're saying.
You think that the good guys can find a woman?
Oh, definitely. Good guys have an advantage, because there's more great women available than there are great men. So that's in my opinion. So they can choose. They can go through a selection process. And it's often karma and timing and destiny, that plays a part. It's often timing. So they have to know exactly what they want and kind of just see who shows up and if they're the right girl or not for them, Yeah.
I feel for the good guy, for the good boy. I think women like that guy with the edge, He's kind of dangerous, but, what I mean? It seems that they are intrigued by the bad boy.
Well, one of my theories is you can either go shopping for a boyfriend or shopping for a husband. And this is one of the topics I'm writing about in my next book. Yeah. So the bad boy can be a great fun boyfriend, but he might not be husband material. So it's something that, you can differentiate. Sometimes it might be fun to date a bad boy and have fun and go out and go to concerts and things and do stuff with him that he likes to do, but he might not be the guy to marry and have children with. Mm-hmm. So there's a line that comes up where a woman has to know what she wants. Mm-hmm. Does she want a boyfriend or does she want a husband?
She wants both. I want both.
Sometimes you can't have both. You can't have both.
All right. On the same, why are men attracted to, bitches? Why are men attracted to bitches?
Well, I think it's also the challenge. I think men like a challenge. They don't like women who are too easy. And they like to feel that they've won something and conquered something. A real man will like to feel like he's won a prize when he finally has a conquest in a woman. So if the woman is a little bit bitchy towards him or very bitchy, she could be the one that he really wants to kind of like wear down so she becomes his, just because it's a challenge to him. Sometimes men see in black and white, and it's like they just have to go, they're like a bull going for the red flag. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. They just want to get the prize and then have a look at it once they get it.
And then when they get the prize, oftentimes they get bored and they go for another prize.
Yeah, or if they go for the bitchy girl and then they finally get her, that they might think, well, there's a couple of things about her that I don't really like.
Or she turns regular. All of a sudden she's no longer, Well, it's boring now. Well, whatever. Yeah, so maybe all the good girls out there, she should be encouraged. Don't necessarily, to be a bitch has both sides, I guess. That's, the good and the bad side.
Exactly. Yeah. And sometimes it's a defense mechanism with women. They can be bitchy because it's a defense mechanism. They just might be like that because they've had so much interaction with bad guys that they can't stand it any longer. Mm-hmm. And they have this very defensive way about them when they're approached.
All right. So in other words, be yourself. You should find a mate, just be yourself. Don't be a bitch nor an a-hole. You can just be yourself when you find someone. Would you say that, or?
Yeah, I just think you need to know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Or what you're not looking for, and if you see like a red flag coming up, 1, 2, and 3, if it's really something that's not going to work with you, don't prolong it, Even if there's a connection with the person, you feel that there's a chemistry or there's a very strong attraction, I feel if there's 1, 2, or 3 red flags, to run a mile. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, let me ask you this. We're dating. We're on the first date. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to behave. I don't know what to say on a date. What are the main questions somebody should ask on a first date?
I think it's important on any date just to relax and have fun. So whatever fun means to you, about having like a nice chat with the person, see if there's like a repertoire with the communication, and you can have a laugh together, you can have fun together. If you have fun with a person, that's a really good indicator. It doesn't matter what you do, what you ask, or where you go, or what happens. It's just whether you have fun with a person, if you feel comfortable with them, or you don't. So I think it's just a matter of just seeing where the conversation's going to go. Don't try to direct it. See what opens up. A lot of people shut down if they get fired a lot of questions at them. Mm-hmm. So some guys can go into a date and just like ask a whole lot of questions, and some women can as well. And I don't really feel that's the best way to go. I just think you need to unravel things, slowly over time, and just see if you have a click and if you have fun with a person, if you feel good within yourself with that person in their company, if you feel relaxed. Mm-hmm. I think that's really important.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Would you say on a first date, do you think it's a good time to ask the person, let's say, what's your short-term plans or your long-term plans?
I think that might come in date 3, date maybe 3, 4, or 5. Like what are your plans? Your short and long-term plans, definitely. I think date 1 and 2 was kind of just getting a feel for the person, just to see what they're up to, you know, like who they are. Yeah.
When is the right time to talk sex? When you're in the dating process?
Well, I think you can talk about sex at any time in the dating process.
Really?
You don't
Even the first date?
I think you can talk about it. You might not actually do it, but you can talk about it. It depends how you talk about it. Some people can get turned off by people talking about sex earlier on. You know, I've experienced some people I've dated on the phone talk about not wanting to have sex for some time and getting to know somebody. You know, some people can also be virgins and they don't want to, and they want to make that clear to the person before moving forward. You know, some people are only really interested in sex after a certain time frame, and sometimes they want to put that out there. So, you know, I think you can talk about it in a nice way, in a sort of like attractive way, without it being, you know, scary to the person that's receiving the information, if it comes up. But if it doesn't come up, it might be better just to hold off on that conversation for a while.
Let me ask you this. We all have, you know, bad experiences. You know, sometimes we have shames, you know, we're ashamed of something we have. And then we go into a dating world and, oh my God, I got an STD. How am I going to tell that person that? Because, and I'm picking STD because it's one of the, you know, I mean, you can't get any, in a way, you can't get any worse than that, you know, as far as shame. You know, sometimes I think a lot of people have STDs, and how do you talk about that with, let's say you're a woman and you know, you talk about it, you're dating a man. How do you go about it?
Well, I think that comes into sex education, and, you know, I think it's probably better to ask your doctor about something like that, but it depends what the STD is and if it can be protected through protected sex. So you can just make sure that you have protected sex for whatever reason, you know, until the conversation comes out.
But how do you tell that person? How do you approach that person? You know, hey, to say that you have an STD. You know what I mean? That's a question that I really don't know how to cover, Frederick. So I think it's something that, you know, the sex educators and doctors would know more about. So it's not really in my repertoire, that one. That's cool. Oh, that's perfect. It's perfect. It's great. All right. Let me ask you this. When should we have sex?
I think whenever you feel comfortable.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no rules there. You just kind of go, you know. So sometimes I feel that, you know, as a guy, you know, you mentioned the prize earlier. Oftentimes the prize is between the women's legs. And sometimes when the woman gives it too easily, as you said, you know, it's like, okay, there's no, you know, especially let's say on the first date, second date, it seems that there's no mystery anymore. And the kind of guy sometimes loses interest. Do you see that?
Well, it depends on the person. I know a lot of people who don't have sex on dates at all until they're in sort of like a situation or until a relationship has been discussed and they're kind of in like a, you know, going into a, sort of a semi-exclusive sort of situation. So I think it's a very personal thing, and it just depends on, you know, what people are up to. There's a lot of party girls out there, but there's also a lot of more serious girls out there as well. So, you know, I think some men, like you said, have been, you know, they've had it too easy with women, but it depends on what they're looking for. They're going for easy women. If they're going for women who might be, you know, a little bit harder to get, they might not be investing their time in those sort of women. So it kind of depends on what their target is. Yeah.
All right. Let's shift gears.
Yeah.
Date a newly separated guy or newly divorced guy. Good idea?
Well, I personally think energetically it takes about 2 years for somebody to really recover from a divorce. And that's on an energetic, spiritual, emotional level, to really feel like they're ready for something fresh and new, and that they feel whole and complete within themselves, and they've come back to themselves as an individual and a person. I mean, It could be 1 to 2 years, but I'd like to push it out to 2 years. I think also energetically, from a spiritual perspective, that anybody who is separated for a very long time but still married, and I've seen this in a lot of my clients, they don't attract the right partner until they are legally divorced. So energetically, that legal binding contract of marriage can tie up your energy from really meeting the right person. Some people, especially men, come out of a marriage or relationship and they're not even divorced yet, and they get into what we call a rebound relationship. 9 out of 10 times, Fred, this rebound relationship does not work. They might be with a girl and put her through the ropes of his rebound from his marriage for 2 years, and then suddenly he's okay after 2 years and he goes, oh, I'm actually looking for something else. I might just go off and date this other person now. So that girl has kind of nursed him through a separation, and she hasn't gotten anything out of it because she's just been the rebound. And the same thing can go for men as well.
Okay, you mentioned a rebound. How can a woman protect herself from that, from meeting a man who's using her as a rebound?
Well, you can ask him questions. How long have you been separated for? How long have you been divorced for? When did you actually physically separate outside of the living environment with your ex-wife? Because some people stay separated, but they still stay living with their wives, ex-wives or husbands in the same house. So you really need to get that physical separation for a really decent period of time before they're ready to move on. And so if they say, oh, I've been separated or divorced for a year, say, well, what are you ready for right now? What do you want right now? Some men will say, oh, I'm just going to see how it goes and feel, just let things happen. And that's a very lame sort of way of approaching a new relationship. Some other men will say, I'm really ready to settle down. I'm ready for a new relationship. So I always say, don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask a man what he wants, what he's looking for, how he sees his future, where he's going, and also about his recent past. Yeah.
What difference do you see in the way men communicate as opposed to women? What are the differences? Because I think that's where most of the conflicts come from between men and women. We just don't communicate the same way.
Well, I think some men can be great communicators, and I think some women can be great communicators. I think it goes both ways. I think what you're referring to is that some men and some women don't reveal the whole story or the whole truth.
Yeah, or some men think that women think like them, like men, and some women would think that men think like women. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think sometimes they avoid saying the whole story because they don't want to reveal the whole truth about something. Yeah. But some women really understand men, like they can think because they've got brothers or husbands or fathers that have been that they've been educated by, so they understand how men think. Some women know how to read men really well. So I don't think that is so much an issue.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah,
okay,
I think that's it's more about the communication and the open communication would be the key.
See, and that's important what you just said, because I think a lot of women study men. There's a lot of information, and I think women are genuinely interested in how men think, behave, blah, blah, blah. And on the other side, it's like guys, they don't study women. Like they don't, most of them anyway. They're not, because women are going to read books, they're going to go on the internet, check out, be interested in men and how they think, and they're going to try to figure it out. Guys are not that way. And I think what it creates is like I said, they just don't get it. They just don't get women. Do you see that?
Yeah, I think men just want to be accepted and appreciated by whatever woman that they're looking at. So I don't think they're as deep as that. And I don't think they worry too much about, they just want to be appreciated and accepted. And if they are accepted and appreciated by whoever, whatever woman that they're currently looking at, then they're fine to go forward. They don't really want to know too much, you know. I think they can get overwhelmed with too much information. I think they're just more interested in what they can provide, how they see themselves in the relationship or the initial stages of a relationship.
All right. Dating at the office. Oof, touchy subject.
Oh.
I have my reservations about it, but I'll let you talk about it. What's your take on it?
Well, that's a bit tricky. Like you say, it's a bit of a touchy subject. Look, a lot of people meet through work. I think it's a situation where, is it going to be detrimental to the workplace, to the future career? A lot of people meet at work, but then they get transferred somewhere else or they end up moving on, because a lot of people do change jobs every couple of years. So I think every case would be specific to the person of how long they've been there, how long they're going to stay there for. Maybe if, they did get married, the wife would maybe have children and not go to work anymore or something like that, So sometimes it's going to affect the career in the workplace and sometimes it's not. So I think every specific case should be analysed individually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My problem with that has always been, people in the office talk and they talk and they talk.
The gossip. Yeah.
Yeah. And here's my take.
I forgot about that one.
Well, you're not in the office.
No.
So I think you're very lucky. Anyway, but my take on it is this, and I've always hesitated in having a relationship, or just having sex with a woman who I work with, because trust me, I heard things about that women told me about my colleagues. That's like, I would never want somebody, talk to me, talk about me to somebody else, because then you walk across that person in the office and he has his chest out and walks proud, but in your mind, like, yeah, okay, dude.
Well, it can be very dangerous, Frederick, and I totally understand your position on this, because if a woman is scorned, or if this man just has a fling with her and it's just a fun thing and she might want more out of it and she doesn't get more, then some women can be very nasty.
Oh, yeah.
And they can go about destroying a man's credibility in the workplace. So it is a very tricky one to get involved with. So you have to be very careful. I wouldn't suggest people hook up at a Christmas party or do anything like that. But if there's a friendship that builds through a work connection that could lead to a marriage or a serious relationship, I think that's okay. But I think just having sex with a co-worker or that sort of thing can be very careless, and it could be detrimental to your career.
And also for women, because trust me, and this is what I learned, when a guy has a fling or just has sex with one woman and he doesn't really respect her, he's just, boom, I just have sex with her. He's going to sit down with his buddies, his other colleagues, with a beer, and is going to talk about her sex, how she was in bed, how she was, and I think it seems that few women know that. I don't know if women are really realize that,
Yeah. Well, I think women talk about stuff like that as well, but.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but. I think naivety could come into it, where some women might not know the consequences of their actions or what they allow to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it can be, it can be a shameful situation to be in. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Once again, we're talking to Amira Celon. She's one of the best intuitive mediums in the world. She has published her own deck of cards, Amira's Love Oracle cards. She does clairvoyance, Turkish coffee cup readings, and Arabic coffee cup readings, right?
That's the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. Card, yeah, that's true. Turkish, Arabic, anyway. All right, she does card reading, Feng Shui, dating coaching, Numerology, Astrology, face readings. All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
Why do women cheat?
I think anyone cheats because they're not really getting what they want out of the relationship. There's something missing. So often people look for something else outside of a relationship that they're not getting. So they might not be getting enough attention. They might not feel that the guy is really what they're looking for, but they've kind of settled for him. They might feel bored in the relationship or something of that description. It could be anything.
Do you think that men cheat for the same reason as women?
I think more or less men do cheat for the same reason. I think they're missing something in the relationship that they're in, and maybe they're looking for some excitement. You know, some people just get bored and they look for some excitement to sort of spark up their life.
How would you advise men who do feel, who do need excitement out, in the relationship or outside of it? And how would you advise a man who wants to tell this to his girlfriend or his wife? Hey, I need more excitement, because I think men are afraid of the woman's reaction. Like, I'm not enough, he's going to get the whole speech.
Yeah, look, I think it's an individual thing, and I think there's no harm in expressing it. I think people need to be more open in their communication in a relationship, because if somebody doesn't like it, they're going to tell you. And if they are, if they do want to talk about it, then it's better to talk about it just to get it out of the way, so they can move on.
What would you tell all those singles out there right now who are, it's Saint-Valentine's Day, and what would you tell them if they're alone? For some people, Saint-Valentine's Day is painful because they're single. If they've been single for the last, 10 years, 5 years, 2 years, or whatever, what would you tell them?
I would just tell them, just love your life, love yourself, do something that you enjoy, give yourself a little treat, and, and just do something that you like doing that's fun, even if it's just watching your favorite TV show or going for a walk or connecting with nature or something like that, or buying yourself flowers. And the day will pass very quickly. It's only one day.
Yeah. And we're going to wrap this up. How can esoteric arts help our dating life?
Esoteric arts can help the dating life by giving somebody guidance and direction into who's coming into their life, maybe give them a description about somebody that is on the horizon that they might not have considered or they might not have met yet. And it just gives you some sort of like hope and guidance of how to go about meeting somebody in their day-to-day life.
So if they want to reach you, where can they find you, and where can they buy your deck of cards? And
the deck of the cards are distributed in the US in some bookstores and also in Australia. Otherwise, they can be purchased online through my website, which is amiracelon.com, AMIRACELON.com. And I do have from time to time some specials on eBay as well. And I am contactable also through my website. And I've got a fabulous YouTube channel where I do free readings for each individual astro sign every month, and also a mid-month reading for everybody with my oracle cards. And I've got free online courses on my YouTube channel, which is Amira Celon. To learn how to read my cards, I've also got some videos about online dating with Tinder, dating married men, or how to pick married men, or how to pick the signs that you're dating a married person when you don't know.
Very
and
important.
yeah, lots of other dating advice and esoteric tips and tricks.
So right before you analyze me, anything else you want to touch on?
Do you want me to pull a card for you?
Go ahead.
What topic would you like me to ask?
I want to know about my podcast. I want to know about my show. That's the most important.
Oh, about your show. Okay.
Yeah, Creative Magic Unchained. I love to do that stuff. I really want to do this.
About your radio
I really want
show?
to. Sorry?
Yeah, about your radio show.
Yeah, my podcast. Yeah.
Okay. Podcast. Oh, wow. We've got the communication card. We've also got a brunette female coming in. So there's a brunette female that I feel that might host or co-host your show with you at some point. But I feel for you, Freda. I think you might go on to television somewhere.
Really?
And I think that might be in Canada. And you could even get an opening to do a live to air radio show in Montreal in French. I think you're going to do something that's got a little bit of it's got a little bit of a topic regarding probably sex and scandals or something.
Public sex and scandals?
No, like a sex and scandal show where people call you and you talk to them about sex and scandals.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel you're going to get something also mainstream, but the podcast is going to go really, really well.
Okay.
It's going to keep on going. Yeah.
Oh, trust me, I'm in this 1000%. I love doing that stuff because I get to talk to people like you. See, that's cool. We had a good conversation.
Thank you. But I think it's going to branch out into other things for you. It's going to expand.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
You're welcome.
All right. I thank you very much. Anything else you want to touch on that we haven't talked about?
I'd just like to say hi to everybody and thanks for listening and lots of love and angel blessings for 2016 and happy Valentine's Day.
Awesome, Amira. Awesome. Hey, thank you very much for doing this. I'm honored. It's really fun. I really,
thank you.
And I think astrology and all that stuff is really interesting. You know, a lot of people are doing it. Geez, a lot of people are doing it.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's the age of Aquarius right now. It's going to boom. Everything's booming. In 100 years' time, there'll be a degree and master's degree in astrology and esoteric arts in colleges. That's where it's going. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
I've been told that from an old medium who died many years ago who gave me a reading. It's definitely on the horizon. We are in the age of Aquarius.
All right, guys. Okay. How did you like it? How did you like the Saint-Valentine's Special? Amira Celon was, thank you so much for doing this. I'm simply going to shut my cell phone off. I'm so sorry about that. Oh my God. Unprofessional. Anyway. So thanks so much, Amira Celon. Thank you. You're kind. You're sweet. And look, I'll take your prediction for my show as a fact. All right. I'd rather be positive than negative, so I'm putting it into my, I'm accepting it. Let's put it that way. All right. Hey, Amira's love oracle cards are available right now. You can go on my website, frederickby.com. That's Frederick with a C. frederickby.com. And those are Amira's love oracle cards. All right, it's time for me to ride off into the sunset. And just as I'm about to ride off into the sunset, I just want to say a few things. Well, basically one thing. Right now, you're going to go on frederickby.com, Frederick with a C, by.com, so that you may get this free audio that I did with J.F. Dubois, and he talks about his journey to becoming an author. The title is Living Your Passion, and he talks about the steps he took to realize that dream. And that is so important because here at the Creative Magic Unchained podcast, we are all about taking the first steps towards this dream. Those dreams, we all have them. You have them. This is why you're listening to this show. And, and we're all about starting small. We're not this type of, it's not a get rich quick, get successful quick kind of scheme, right? You and I are not like that, right? You and I are willing to put in the work, or willing to put the time, and we're taking the leaps of faith, and we are willing to live in the unknown, because this is what it is. A creative life is about being creative, and sometimes you don't know what's going to happen next, but you're calm, right? You're calm, and you're taking it one step at the time. So this conversation with J.F. Dubois will inspire you. It is very informative. He published his second book recently, actually, and I decided to post it as an exclusive conversation because it represents, my brand. It represents who I am as a brand. It really talks about the stuff that I believe in. So right now, Frederick Buy, and that's Frederick with a C, buy.com. I want to tell you this quote right before leaving from Julia Cameron. What we really want to do is what we are really meant to do. When we do what we are meant to do, money comes to us. Doors open for us. We feel useful, and the work we do feels like play to us. With this, stay safe and don't forget, live with purpose, passion, and love. Bye-bye.